Hello, good evening and welcome to News 360 from the News Hub at Adisawe, Kanda. My name is Portia Gabo. And my name is Issa Morning. We have the top stories for tonight coming up in a moment. West Municipal Assembly to demolish more than 100 homes built on waterways to avert flooding. And also coming up, Cape Coast and net environs at risk of cholera outbreak following increase in open defecation. Also, 8 new tourist sites discovered in the Western region. Meanwhile, Tourism Minister hints of introduction of subsidy on electricity tariffs for operators in hospitality industry. Coming up in international news, President Buhari to return to Nigeria next week after spending about 2 months in the UK. We have details coming up shortly. Do stay with us. Right, you're welcome. This is News 360 Live from the home of news in Accra. Now, the West Municipal Assembly says it will demolish more than 100 homes built on waterways. The structures have been identified as the major cause of flooding in the area.
In the West Municipality, anytime it rains, this is blamed on several homes built on waterways. Akotoshi, Midye, Opa and Oduntia are some of the communities that often get flooded. Majority of buildings in these areas were constructed without permit. The communities also have no proper drainage systems. However, other communities who are fortunate to have drains have erected structures on them, thereby impeding the smooth flow of water. The head of the Physical Planning Department of the Assembly, Nana Kwame Ejiman, who described the development as a nuisance, affirmed the Assembly is pursuing action plans to stop flooding.
Assembly does not endorse irregularities, and there is no way the Assembly will go ahead and give permit to structures along waterways. Something will be done about it.
The Municipal Chief Executive Clement Lamte Wilkinson is also not happy with the development.
We have the planning system there, and we are going to look at it and make sure whoever is building on unauthorized places will make sure to stop them.
Meanwhile, the poor road network in more than 6 communities in the West Municipality is affecting transportation in the area. The Municipal Assembly, however, says it is not in a good financial standing to fix poor roads.
Amasaman is the capital of the West Municipal Assembly. It is one of the fastest growing areas in the country. However, several challenges affect development of social infrastructure. Roads, for instance, are in bad shape. Majority of them linking adjoining communities are deplorable. Roads connecting Pokuasu to Dedeman, Mayura to Koleman, Media to Gonse, Sapiman to Opa, among others, are all in poor states. Assembly members say this is worrying.
The road is leading through Myra to Atomic Junction. So it's a major road. Some years back, people were using that same road. But nowadays, because of the condition of the road, the people are no more using it. So it's a big challenge to us.
Farm produce gets rotten because farmers are unable to transport them to market centers. Some of the roads were washed away by the recent downpour, thereby compounding the plight of commuters. Some commercial drivers have therefore refused to ply these roads. Efforts to get the Municipal Assembly to fix the roads have not been successful. Residents have therefore been compelled to fix the roads themselves. But this is difficult since they do not have what it takes. The Municipal Chief Executive of West, Clement Lamte Wilkinson, in the company of municipal engineers, were in 6 communities to assess the level of damage to roads. The vehicle of the entourage experienced what residents go through daily. The MCE said the Assembly cannot fix all roads in the municipality, hence they need to liaise with the Urban Roads Department.
West roads are very bad. From here, I'm going to write a proposal to the top so that they can help, so that we can build Can West.
In other news tonight, the poor state of the Obogu-Inchisa Road in the Asante-Achim South District of the Ashanti region is taking a heavy toll on farming and other socio-economic activities in the area. The road becomes animal trouble whenever there is a downpour. A report by Ibrahim Abubakar.
The stretch is one of the major roads linking farming communities in the Asante-Achim South District. The road network is in a deplorable state. Driving on the pothole-ridden road, according to drivers, is uncomfortable. The situation has compelled most commercial drivers to halt plying the stretch. A few drivers who use the road charge high fares, which the farmers find it difficult to pay.
When the rain falls, there is no one schooling who could able to even pass in the road. When the rain falls and it couldn't even fall heavier, there is no any car can pass on this road.
The poor road network leads to post-harvest losses, much to the disadvantage of the farmers. A resident, Efia Akurugu, laments the ordeal of women in labor in accessing transportation to the nearest health facility. The district chief executive of Asante-Achim South, Alexander Frempong, in a telephone interview, said the assembly intends to upgrade the road before the end of July this year.
And still in the Ashanti region, lack of social amenities continue to worsen the living conditions of the people of Papa Sisi in the Offensive North District of the region. Poor road network and inadequate potable water have left residents with little social amenities. The district chief executive, David Asari, admits these challenges are retarding the development of communities in the district.
Farmers, residents of Papa Sisi have several worries. Hundreds of tons of food are left rotting on their farms due to bad roads. This, the district chief executive promises to fix.
We have to do the spot improvement on the road so that the farmers can send their produce to market. The roads are very bad. Even if it rains, they find it difficult to go to market.
Again, junior high school pupils trek daily to school on the 3-kilometer Papa Sisi Jenidabi Road. This is a disincentive to improving education in the area. Water is a scarce commodity in the area. Education in Akumadan, Nkwankwa, Nkinkensu, and largely the Akumadan Senior High School is threatened by poor water quality. Through interventions from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and financial support of various communities, the people have constructed and handed over 2 mechanized boreholes and 2 manpower boreholes to some communities. The engineer of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints water project, Mensa Merciful Moses, said the project will improve water supply in the area. The water projects were commissioned by the Offensive North DCE, David Kwesiasari, and the Church of Christ of Latter-day Saints representative in Ghana, Elder Charlie Redline, and chiefs of some of the communities in the district.
Now let's go to the central region, and some residents at Apeusika, a community near the University of Cape Coast, say they will blame the university's management should there be an outbreak of cholera in the area. They claim a septic tank which belongs to the university continues to leak into their homes despite several appeals made to authorities. Yes, a report by Spencer Kwabna Boatin Mensa.
Been a public concern about the frequency at which cholera affects individuals in the University of Cape Coast community. In 2014, one student died after reportedly eating wache from the science food market, which led to the market's temporal closure. But food vendors here say they are ensuring proper sanitation and responsible cooking habits to avert an outbreak of any sanitation-related disease.
Fine. Wa mama say pa kunu be dida en the chance ni bi na mebu odun en na wuro abes no so na nwura no gu ade wiye a ode ye hyew.
We have gathered that a committee has been set by the university to see its prevention. Vendors say the UCC Health Directorate has also been conducting regular inspections of food and cubicles in the market in accordance to the university's regulations.
Sanitation here at the infamous food market, as far as the outbreak of cholera is concerned, seems to have improved currently. But this might be because there is no pressure on the market, especially as the regular students who populate the university are now on vacation.
However, sanitation in some communities around the university is poor, as refuse has been left uncollected for several weeks. Behind one of the university's hall of residence are cesspits which residents of Apeosika say leak into their homes. Yao Mensah is a resident of Apeosika, and he blames UCC management for the frequent outbreak of cholera in their community.
The water is purely toilet coming from it. Their manhood, the old manhoods are here. Still, they are using it, and it's flowed over the community. We are suffering about it. We have been complaining a lot of it. They have not taken any action about it.
He also expressed displeasure about the stench that emanates from the leakages when it rains. Last year, some youth from the community demonstrated against UCC management over issues, including the leakage, but according to Yao Mensah, nothing has been done about it.
Meanwhile, Cape Coast and its environs are at risk of a possible cholera outbreak as human excreta and uncollected refuse litter some suburbs in the metropolis. Last year, the central region recorded nearly 700 cases of cholera between October and November. Another report by Spencer Kwabena-Boateng-Mensah.
Cholera is an infectious disease that causes severe watery diarrhea, which can lead to dehydration and even death. The disease is caused by eating food or drinking water contaminated with a bacterium called Vibrio cholerae. The central region recorded 588 cases with 11 deaths in 2011. However, the number of cases declined to 108 in 2012 with 12 deaths. Although the country recorded no cases in 2013, there was an acute nationwide infection the following year, making 2014 the worst in 3 decades. According to the WHO, the region was the second highest affected area in 2014 during the spread that affected a total of 26,000 and killed 211. Central region recorded 3,000 cases with 36 deaths and was next to the Greater Accra region. The number of cases declined to 18 with no deaths in 2015, but there was an upsurge last year with nearly 700 cases between mid-October and November with no casualties. 2 months ago, the Ministry of Health issued a cholera alert, but it appears to have fallen on deaf ears as poor sanitation is still a major challenge within Cape Coast metropolis. Although most of the streets in Cape Coast were clean as of the time we visited, some gutters at Anafo, Abra, Pedu and Bakano were choked with garbage, hindering free flow of floodwater. Communal bins at some suburbs were unkept, but the situation at USA, a suburb near Anafo Market, was awful. Open defecation is rife in the area as human excreta scatters along a gutter which passes through the Anafo Market in Cape Coast. Children play around, putting themselves at risk of contracting diseases.
This uncollected refuse and human excreta scattered here at USA near Anafo Market in Cape Coast, the possibility of an outbreak of cholera is high.
Metro Director of Disease Control, Samuel Sasi, who spoke off camera, said a committee has been set to avert an outbreak of the disease.
Now, the fight against malaria in Ghana has seen the introduction of several anti-malaria drugs to treat the ailment. However, there are concerns by the World Health Organization about the resistance level of drugs used in Africa, which threatens the fight. The Noguchi Memorial Institute of Medical Research is currently working with other health centers to monitor the efficacy of the current line of anti-malaria drugs being used in the country.
Control programs are constantly threatened by the continuous decline in the efficacy of malaria medicines in endemic areas. For a long time, Ghana used chloroquine as the first-line malaria treatment drug until studies showed decline in its efficacy levels, leading to the change of policy.
Before 2004, there was so much abuse of chloroquine. The studies that we did, it showed that the efficacy of chloroquine dropped from about 91% to 25%, so which was very alarming.
Currently, Ghana has 3 first-line anti-malarial drugs: artesunate amodiaquine, artemether-lumefantrine, and dihydroartemisinin, following the introduction of artemisinin-based combination therapy, ACTs. However, artesunate amodiaquine remains the preferred and most common ACT for the treatment of uncomplicated malaria. The World Health Organization recently found that there was a spread of artemisinin resistance in Africa that threatens the fight against malaria, as ACT is the only effective and widely used anti-malaria treatment at the moment. Several factors account for this, key among them as non-compliance to treatment.
This is the experience that we had with chloroquine. You start treatment, you don't complete the treatment, then the parasites get used to the drug. Next time when you give the drug, it doesn't work.
Constant monitoring of the artemisinin resistance has thus become imperative. This has raised concerns within the public sphere as to whether the country's first-line treatment drugs are still effective and how long they will last. The Noguchi Memorial Institute of Medical Research is one of the sentinel centers working together with the National Malaria Control Program to monitor the efficacy of the first-line anti-malarial drugs for early warning signs to know whether or not to maintain it.
The efficacy for amodiaquine artesunate is around 99%, and then for artemether-lumefantrine, it is 96%. We will be worried if you have treatment failure rates of 10%. What our data is showing is that we have failure rates of less than 5%.
Researchers warn the efficacy of these drugs can only be maintained for long if they are used well. An immunologist at Noguchi advised there is a threat of progression of uncomplicated malaria to severe malaria.
As the number of people who get infected goes down, the chances are that the few who still suffer the disease is going to be a bit more serious, because their immune system would not recognize or be able to fight the parasite like it used to.
Causative agents from various countries can hinder the progress of malaria control in Ghana. It is therefore imperative for concerted efforts of countries in the sub-region to achieve total eradication across the African continent.
Let's now go to the eastern region, where the Akwemufie Presbyterian Basic School in the region is in a deplorable state. A rainstorm ripped off the road some months ago, exposing pupils to harsh weather conditions. A report by Akose J. Sonu.
With a population of over 600, the school built in the 60s has seen very little renovation. A rainstorm ripped off the roof of the school building some months ago, exposing pupils to the vagaries of the weather. The structures speak very little of care for the pupils. Gaping holes and structural cracks are seen on the walls. The foundation of the building has been exposed due to erosion. The head teacher of the school, Daku Minta, said NADMO's promise to come to the aid of the school is yet to be fulfilled.
For the time being, we are managing with that situation, but we hope very soon they will come to our aid.
Kindergarten 1 and 2 pupils now occupy one classroom with 2 separate teachers.
It's not easy for us, because if a teacher is teaching one class, you see all the children will put their mind on that teacher alone. And even to control them, no, you don't get it easy.
School pupils have to improvise during lunchtime. This kitchen is where their food is cooked. Teachers in the school appealed to the district assembly to come to their aid.
And a Danish coastal protection expert, Paul Jacobsen, is unhappy poor execution of the Adansi Defense Project is the cause of tidal wave attacks on some communities along the Keta Sea. Paul Jacobsen, whose company undertook the Castle Sea Defense Project, is suggesting government review the contract of the Adan project.
The over €260 million Adan Sea Defense Project was carried out between 2011 and 2014 by Dredging International of Belgium. According to the coastal expert, this has failed to stop tidal wave attacks. The Danish coastal protection expert, who was part of the Castle Defense Project in Accra, showed the news team some illustrations about the closeness of the sea to land since the execution of the project. He said both phases of the project, from the Adan assembly area to Kote, has seen seawater overflow the walls, causing more havoc.
In February last year, the spit was 800 meters long outside in the river, and now it's 50 meters. 800 meters of the spit out in the river is eroded away because Dredging International have taken sands here in front of the river, and it increased the erosion. 20 million cubic meter water run in the river from low tide to high tide. The next 6 hours, the same water run out again. It gives erosion.
The ripple effect, he claimed, is the cause of tidal distraction to most communities along the Keta Sea. He suggested government should review the contract, arguing something is not right.
Yeah, that project must be redesigned because when we go north here, all the sand is washed away north of the assembly house. The beach nourishment is washed away here 1 year later, and it have taken 30 to 40 meters behind the groins today. And that is the next point we will take a look.
He wants an immediate short-term measure taken to mitigate the situation, or more communities will be wiped out within the next 3 months. From Ada, Nana Kwekwedia for TV3 News.
Let's now go to the Upper West region, where angry youth of Yorogo in the Bolgatanga municipality on Friday left the body of their brother at the Bolgatanga Municipal Police Hospital until Saturday 5 a.m. following the arrest of 3 of their people. The deceased was knocked down by a vehicle which was being driven by a mortuary who works at the Bolgatanga Regional Hospital morgue, killing him instantly.
Were angry over the death of their brother caused by the mortuary man saw the mortuary man when they went to pick up the body from the Bolgatanga Hospital morgue. They became infuriated, assaulting him and his colleagues, causing damage to his motorbike and hospital property. At about 6:30 p.m., the Yorogo youth besieged the Bolgatanga Municipal Police Station amidst stone throwing and eventually dumped the body of the deceased at the frontage of the police station. The coffin was later conveyed back to Yorogo for burial after persuasion from traditional leaders. The police is still investigating the matter.
Let's stay in the upper part of the country, and some new patriotic party youth in the Waliwali constituency of the East Mamprusi district of the northern region went on rampage on Friday, destroying party property at various party offices. This follows the nomination of Abu Muhammad by the president as district chief executive.
Office and the office of the Baumia Youth for Change were mostly affected, with the youth setting party documents there ablaze. The destruction TV3 gathered was done under the cover of darkness to prevent perpetrators from being arrested. Some youth who spoke off camera revealed the destruction was necessary as they felt discriminated against by the rank and file of the party because they expected party executives to present one of their own. The last attempt in trying to confirm Saka Sayuti, a resident of Waliwali, witnessed a rejection by assembly members, which resulted in exchange of blows from supporters of the then nominee. Friday's rampage is said to be a retaliation by constituents in Waliwali, as the new appointee is not from Waliwali.
In other news, the former spokesperson of the Armed Forces Revolution Council, AFRC, Major Boachijan, says the story that Major Maxwell Adam Mahama was lynched during jogging was a cover-up story for something else. He was speaking on TV3's current affairs program, Hot Issues.
It's a cover-up because there's so many loopholes in the story. The distance from their location to where he fell, 13 miles. Nobody can convince him. He was not running, preparing for a marathon. To do 13 months jogging. I can't believe that. No military personnel was accompanying him, or we are told was accompanying him. Why?
Can't a military captain decide to go on any, visit or work alone?
No. You see, not when you are on detachment to a hot area like that.
The former spokesperson for the Armed Forces Revolution Council, AFRC, also blamed President Akufo-Addo for activities of Delta Force in recent times.
He's the leader of the country. Most of these things, he could call for a minister responsible for these things to take action. And if they don't take, then he is powerless in dealing with them, his subordinates.
So how would you grade an Nana government when it comes to, its performance within insecurity from 1 to 10?
I will give him, it depends, which is the highest, 1 or 9?
9 is the highest. It means they are doing very well.
Oh, I will give him 0 to 9, 1.
1?
Yes.
1?
1.
You're watching News 360, and a section of Ghanaians have expressed divergent views regarding the stay or otherwise of the 2 former Guantanamo Bay detainees in Ghana. The Supreme Court on Thursday declared as unconstitutional former President Mahama's decision to host the 2 former Guantanamo Bay detainees in the country.
Also ordered government to within the next 3 months send the agreement to Parliament for ratification or have the 2 detainees sent back to the United States. To stay or be sent back, some Ghanaians expressed divergent views on the issue.
When their news broke out, it created some kind of fear in the public. So personally, I think they shouldn't stay.
As it stands, no Ghanaian knows where they are. Like the layman doesn't know where they are at the moment. So as to whether they have communication with people outside, they have people within inside, nobody has any idea. And that should scare me as a Ghanaian, or scare any Ghanaian as a matter of fact. It's scary.
I heard they have not shown any bad attitude in our country here. So if that will continue, then I believe that they should stay.
If these people are living in the country for some time now, and I'm sure that those who brought them have tracked their activities. So if they have not done anything wrong over their stay, and then they are able to cooperate with their people that they are staying with, I think they should stay.
You're watching News 360 from the News Hub. Still to come. 8 new tourist sites discovered in the Western region. Meanwhile, Tourism Minister hints of introduction of subsidy on electricity tariffs for operators in the hospitality industry. And coming up on the international front, President Buhari to return to Nigeria next week after spending about 2 months in the UK.
We have all the details coming up right here. Stay with us.
All at your fingertips.
Who's found Asamoah Gyan? Super finish!
Being on top of the news has never been easy. Visit us at www.3news.com for all your reliable news. 3 News, news at your fingertips. reliable,
President Mahama, who addressed a Deborah of chiefs and people of
credible, and breaking news. All news.com for all your reliable news. 3 News, news at your fingertips. Captivating, reliable,
President Mahama, who addressed a Deborah of chiefs and people of
credible, and breaking news. All at your fingertips.
Who's found Asamoah Gyan? Super finish!
Hello again, let's continue with the rest of the news. And 8 new tourist sites have been discovered in the Western region. The Ministry of Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts discovered the sites when it paid a working visit to the Western region as part of plans to list all heritage sites in the country and formulate appropriate policy strategies for the development of the sector.
Tourism, Culture and Creative Art, together with all its allied agencies, including the Ghana Tourism Authority, Ghana Tourism Development Company, Ghana Tourism Federation and the Ghana Museums and Monuments Board, undertook the 1-week visit to the Western region. The team paid a courtesy call on the Western Regional Minister and the Omantne of Escado, Nana Kwabena Nketia, both of whom gave their blessings to the team. Nana Kwabena Nketia was worried about how culture is usually relegated to the background during some national events.
Without culture, we are dead. If your culture gets broken, then your nation is gone. You don't have a nation again. So the only weapon, the only tool, the only defense mechanism, the only building tool that we have is the word culture.
The team visited the Bobo AC Island, Fort Antonio, the residence and burial place of George Alfred Grant, popularly known as Spa Grant, and also the residence of one of the most popular and richest timber merchant, Kwandaho, all at Axim. The team continued to Osage for Dr. Kwame Nkrumah's birth and first burial place, and the burial place of his mother, Yaba, all at Ngoloflo. The Enwunyame Rock Castle and the Baku Crocodile Shrine were key discoveries in the region. The Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts Minister Catherine Ablima Afeku, who led the team, said the team is yet to find ways of developing and packaging the places as tourist attractions.
We have an opportunity to list all heritage sites in the country. So it's not just Western. But at the end of this tour, we will sit down as a team and look at everything that we have seen and what we haven't seen. I'm told there's a frog as huge as a man in the Seshi area. So there's a lot of things that we are yet to catch and hook.
She explains this will help create more jobs for the youth and also transform the country's economy.
Meanwhile, the Tourism Minister, Catherine Afeku, has hinted of government plans to subsidize electricity bills for operators in the hospitality industry. The minister was responding to concerns by some hotel operators about the exorbitant energy tariffs, which they say is gradually crippling their businesses.
Part of the 1-week working visits by the Ministry of Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts to the Western region, the team met with private sector operators in the industry, the Ghana Tourism Federation. The meeting was purposely to identify problems of private sector operators and find ways of solving them. It was revealed operators pay close to about 20 taxes, which had become a burden. That aside, operators said the high energy tariffs had become a headache, which they pleaded with the minister to intervene.
The energy cost of running a hotel now is so high, especially with the very big hotels. I am suggesting to the Honorable Minister that they need to come up with a policy to support the hotels, especially in the Western region, occupancies are very low. But as a hotel, whether you have people in house or not, you need to put on your air conditioners in the lobby, for example.
In her response, the minister said an energy policy document is currently being worked on to address the issue.
If you're going to bring down costs or revenue to the government coffers, you have to find a way of commensurating that shortfall. Solar is the way to go. It's quite expensive, so there has to be a package to support the industry. It's a work in progress.
The national president of the Ghana Tourism Federation, David Nana Enim, was also worried about the lack of proper training institutions in the country. He explained regular trainings will help improve on the fallen standards in the hospitality industry.
We don't have enough tourism and hospitality training school. When you look at Ghana at the moment, we only have HotCat, and HotCat is not functioning. So, and we don't have government recognized and approved tourism school. So it makes the whole thing looks as if standard is falling day in and day out. And there's another area that I think we should have to look at.
The minister explained a team from Switzerland is expected in Ghana by the end of June to produce a module for training operators in the hospitality industry. This follows a United Nations declaration for Ghana to be the hub for training in the hospitality industry across Africa. The minister noted the module has worked in Kenya for 30 years and expected to do the same in Ghana.
Volunteers Against Environmental Degradation, a non-governmental organization, is alleging some illegal miners are operating within the Upper Denshira West District contrary to government's directives. Operations manager of the NGO, Richard Adu, said illegal mining activities are still rife around the Ofin, Akwaboso and Subin rivers.
The organization, which is aimed at preventing illegal mining in the country, is moving around some Galamsey areas in the country with the police task force. The alleged Chinese illegal miners are still operating within the Amenase and Dwabuso forests near Diaso in the Upper Denshira West District.
There's a place called Amenase, where we have some Chinese miners still working over there. And it'll baffle you that it's a forest. And I'm surprised that they're still mining in there.
Operations manager of the organization, Richard Adu, noted it is unclear what the role of the military in the area is.
I know that there's a military presence over there. What are they doing there exactly? That is what baffles me. I don't understand as a layman. We are yet to actually know what they are protecting over there.
Large portions of land in the Akwaboso village have been turned into a mining site, posing serious threats to the community. The organization is therefore calling on the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, John Peter Mehu, to visit the area and put a stop to the Galamsey activities.
In other news, it's provided employment for many in Nkwa Kubel in the Sojaman district of the eastern region, while the farms provided several poultry products at the peak of production, but it is now in a dilapidated state. Akwese Jason visited the community and reports residents want the factory captured under the one district, one factory policy of government.
It was one of Dr. Nkrumah's legacy. The farms operated for decades and provided jobs for the people. Apart from poultry products, the farm supplied large quantities of grains and legumes. This is, however, no more. Structures and equipment are in a dilapidated state. Farm machinery have all broken. Scrap dealers have stolen spare parts of broken down tractors, while some other equipment lie rotten. The hatchery, silos and several other equipment are in bad shape. Residents are yet to make use of the land acquired for the farm. Over 500 acres of land lie unused. They have, however, turned some of the structures of the factory into churches. These residents are, however, doing something good with some of the infrastructures abandoned with the collapse of the farms. Some are now rearing pigs. Many youth have now left the community for urban centers. Nkwa Kubel is now a ghost town due to this.
most people work there as factory hands, others as technical people, others as, you know, very good professionals. And you still have people who work there who are alive today, whom you can find to even have further interview, you know, with. Yeah. So it's sad. We believe if this was here, at least it would have reduced the burden of unemployment within the community. The actual problem they have here is something to use their hands to do.
Their plea is simple: revive the farms and the government's one district, one factory policy. The district chief executive of Asiedu-Dartey, Eric Oseyeje, assured the assembly will pursue the agenda to have the farms captured under government's policy.
Since we are already fortunate to have the infrastructure, then it means that reviving it is not going to be that difficult. So I promise the people of Enum that whatever we will have to do to revive that project, we will not relent.
Let's stay with agriculture because government has announced measures to increase cocoa production to 1 million metric tons and improve local processing of the beans by 50%. Deputy Food and Agri Minister in charge of perennial crops, William Kwetu, told a meeting with cocoa farmers at Achimda in the Eastern region the measures have been put in place to achieve the set target. We'll bring that story a little later in the news.
Let's now continue in other news. Former President Jerry John Rawlings has condemned politicians who seek to undermine the integrity and hard work of public and civil servants. Speaking at an event to commemorate Public Service Day in memory of the late Cabinet Secretary Nathan Kwao, President Rawlings said attacks on public and civil servants will stop them from giving up their best.
Former President Jerry John Rawlings recalled the immeasurable role and contributions of the late former head of civil service Nathan Kwao. The commemorative event coincided with the Public Services Day on the theme "Entrenching a Citizen-Centered Culture, the Role of Public Servants." Former President Rawlings was worried some politicians insult and undermine the integrity of civil and public servants. A Deputy Chief of Staff, Abu Jinapo, spoke about government's commitment to improve operations of the civil and public service.
The political space does not allow people of such integrity to get on the stage. We undermine them with money politics, etc. At Champong's time, for instance, I know some of our finest officers were just posted out all over the place, put over corporations so they can also go and taint their hands and lose their moral authority.
He charged civil and public servants to be circumspect in the discharge of their duties.
The demand for public service to be service to the public and not to oneself, whether in Accra, Kampala, Abuja, Ouagadougou, Abidjan, Bamako, or Juba, the consciousness of the African people is at an all-time high.
The head of local government services, Dr. Nana Tuata, called on public and civil servants to assist government to transform metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies.
216 MMDs constitute Ghana. So when the MMDs are transformed, Ghana is transformed.
Meanwhile, the Civil and Local Government Staff Association, CLOCSAC, has named its auditorium after Nathan Kwao. After unveiling of the plaque, the association presented a cake to former President Jerry Rawlings as a belated birthday present.
Now, the chief imam of Moshi Zongo, Chief Al-Hassan Idris, says the execution of the Zongo Development Fund would define the lives of people living in Zongo communities. To him, evenly sharing the national cake will address the abject poverty Zongos face.
Zongo, the largest Zongo community in the Ashanti region, has an estimated population of about 400,000. Though geographically located in the Kumasi metropolis, it is also considered as one of the challenged communities in the Ashanti region. Poor infrastructure and lack of other basic amenities confronts the Moshi Zongo community. About 90% of the inhabitants here are Muslims. So in the month of Ramadan, philanthropists normally come to the community to donate food and use the opportunity to place their prayer requests. Member of Parliament for the area, Collins Owusu-Amankwa, presented bags of rice and other food items to the Muslim community. Chief Imam of Moshi Zongo, Alhaji Al-Hassan Idris, was worried the community lacked in development. The MP for the area, Collins Owusu-Amankwa, urged the community members to have confidence in the present administration.
Could see that Zongos are lacking behind, and therefore there's a need to ensure that we give them the needed development and also to maximize their welfare. And as a government, we are committed to ensure that.
We have sport news coming up shortly. Do stay with us.
Top of the news has never been easy. Visit us at www.3news.com for all your reliable news. 3 News, news at your fingertips. Reliable.
President Mahama, who addressed a Deborah of chiefs and people of
credible and breaking news. Captivating, reliable.
President Mahama, who addressed a Deborah of chiefs and people of
credible and breaking news. For all your reliable news. 3 News, news at your fingertips.
Hi, good evening. It's time to bring you all the latest in the world of sports. My name is Thierry Nyan. This is News 360. Now let's start off with the Ghana Premier League, where Kumasi Asante Kotoko at the Baba Yara Stadium beat Wa All Stars by 2-1. A win that now ensures that Kotoko are in the top 4 places of the Ghana Premier League after that particular win. That was the only game in the Ghana Premier League today. There are some other games tomorrow, and they are going to be about 7 of them, with Hearts of Oak also facing the likes of Elmina Sharks. Now, let's move away from that. Let's go straight to some other news where Coach Herbert Addo, who won the Ghana Premier League with Hearts of Oak in 2002 and Aduana Stars in 2010, died after a short illness at the 37 Military Hospital on Friday, March 24. The veteran coach was laid to rest today with dignitaries in the sporting fraternity being present to pay their last respect. Clubs such as Accra Hearts of Oak, Kotoko, Aduana, and other clubs were all there to pay their last homage to the late coach. Herbert Addo died at age 66. Now, Kwesi Appiah has confirmed his squad for Ghana's friendly against the United States of America and Mexico, with Liberty Professionals defender Samuel Safo initially reported to have missed out from the trip to USA, now part of the list. Emmanuel Ajonbedu says his inclusion is well-deserved.
I watched some of his games at Liberty Professionals. I remember we were in camp in Elisa. I was passing through the poolside where I saw them with a policeman. And I said, Safo, you are here to guide us. You'll be here soon, don't worry. He said, Senior, that's my willing to hear. Now, he's with the national team. I hope he will get a chance and grab the opportunity because he has really worked hard and it's important for him to be in the team.
All right, now we go straight to the FIFA Confederations Cup, where there were 2 games played today in Group A, and those were the last games of that particular round. Now is the end of the road for Russia and New Zealand after they were beaten by Mexico and Portugal, respectively. So what it effectively means is that Mexico and Portugal have moved on to the next stage of the competition. Meanwhile, on Sunday, there are going to be 2 other games, which also will be wrapping up Group B. Chile will face Australia. Cameroon will also come up against Germany, and Cameroon and Australia really are seemingly out of the competition. They would need to save their faces with some sorts of decent performances on that particular day in those games. But let's move away from that. Let's do some weightlifting, where TV3's Ghana Strongest gets more exciting as week 6 of the event hit Polygon this weekend, with all athletes showing much improvement in what we've experienced so far in the competition. The first challenge was the superset deadlift with a weight of 180 to 240 kilograms, which saw the athletes go through it. Now, Damian Smith gave the fans in Polygon what they missed last year with the overhead block press lifting all blocks in 20 seconds to come first. TV3 Stone was next with the weight of 150. The athletes were tasked to carry it within a 30-meter distance in a stipulated time of 1 minute. This saw challenge also from Damian Smith topple his competitors in a time of 11 seconds, with the likes of Anakwesi Boateng, Husseini Suleiman, all trailing behind him. The pond load race combined the event needed experience and demanded much strength from the athletes. All right, so that is it with the, Ghana's Strongest. But that's exactly where we bring an end to this sports bulletin right here on News 360. My name is Thierry Nyan. Portia Gabo and Isamoni stand by to bring us some more news.
Thank you very much, Thierry. And coming up is entertainment news.
Entertainment news is brought to you by
And tonight in this segment, Stonebwoy is set to make history as he prepares to stage a performance at this year's BET Awards as the first Ghanaian musician to perform live on the main stage. The reggae dancehall act will share the stage with some big wigs in American music while making Ghana proud.
From his second BET nomination to getting married and now the BET main stage. It's definitely been a good year for dancehall superstar Livingstone Setterclair, popularly known as Stonebwoy. The Wogbajeke hitmaker will make history as the first Ghanaian to perform on the main stage of the BET Awards on Sunday. heavyweight musician will share the stage with the likes of Mary J. Blige, A$AP Rocky, and others. Performing also from Africa is Nigeria's Wizkid, who jointly won the award for Best International Act with Sarkodie in 2012. Stonebwoy, who has staged many performances across the globe, will yet again have to prove his prowess on the microphone, as well as a good showmanship to entertain the audience at the event. Though there have been some concerns about getting the audience to relate with his songs, entertainment critic Francis Doku believes music is a language, and once it is good, it will resonate with the crowd.
Stonebwoy was in the last Coke Studio Africa in Kenya, and he performed alongside some of the US artists like Trey Songz, and all that, do very well on the stage. Even people who don't understand the music you're singing or understand anything of what you're singing, if they see how good you are, they would appreciate it.
He said the opportunity will open other doors and expose the musician to bigger platforms and possible collaborations with top international acts. He admonished Stonebwoy and his team to take advantage of this to establish networking opportunities with international stars.
Many people and many decision makers will be watching the show. And if they see him, it means that he's an established artist, and it's good for him.
Hoping to pick his second BET award in this year's edition, Stonebwoy will face competition from other musicians in Africa, including Davido, aka Wizkid, Techno, and Mr. Easy. The 2017 edition of the BET is scheduled to take place on Sunday, June 25 at the Microsoft Theater in Los Angeles, United States of America.
And the hip-hop rapper Daddy Opanka has been talking about marriages, and he says 90% of Ghanaian weddings are fake. According to him, true love has become very rare these days, hence his new song, Wedding Car, which advises on marriage and weddings.
Born Armstrong Efum, Daddy Opanka shot to fame with his hit single Obiani Ni Taste in 2013. The Tema-based rapper continued to thrill his fans with hit songs like Hajia and Mepenosa. Daddy Opanka has again released a new video for his song titled Wedding Car. In an interview with TV3, Opanka revealed that 90% of Ghanaian weddings are fake.
I realized like about 90% of the current Ghanaian marriages are fake. And why am I saying this? I realize people are marrying because of competition. They want to compete with their friends or other people. People are marrying to show off, to let people know they married rich people, And parents are also allowing their daughters to be married only if they see their husbands have money. So
International news is next.
Minister of Sports and Youth Development, Solomon Dalon, says President Muhammadu Buhari's return from medical leave is imminent. The minister revealed this on his Facebook page on Friday, June 23. The president left Nigeria on May 7 to seek medical help in London after his health deteriorated on his return after his first trip there on January 19 that lasted till March 10. There have been no public statements or appearances from the president since he left, and there are no public details on the state of his health. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has been acting in the role of Commander-in-Chief since then.
And that's it for this edition of News 360. My name is Issa Moni.
And I am Portia Gabo. Coming up is music. Enjoy the rest of our programs. Good night.